I booked a remote cabin for a weekend getaway, needing a break from the noise of the city. The listing was simpler, cozy wooden house deep in the woods, surrounded by nothing but trees for miles. It seemed perfect, isolated, peaceful, and cheap. The owner had great reviews, and the pictures showed a warm, inviting interior. It was exactly what I needed. I arrived late in the afternoon, the setting sun casting long shadows between the trees. The driveway was just a narrow dirt path that twisted deeper into the forest before revealing the small cabin. The nearest town was a good 30 minutes away, and as I stepped out of my car, I immediately noticed the silence. No cars, no people, just the wind rustling through the trees. It was eerie, but also oddly calming. Inside, the cabin was just as the pictures showed, rustic, but clean. The front door led straight into a cozy living room, furnished with an old but comfortable-looking couch, a wooden coffee table, and a fireplace that smelled faintly of burnt wood. The kitchen was small but functional, and there was a narrow hallway leading to a single bedroom and a bathroom. Everything seemed normal. I unpacked my things and made some coffee, then sat outside on the porch, watching the forest darken. The trees stood tall and unmoving, their black silhouettes barely distinguishable against the dimming sky. The silence was thick, pressing against my ears like cotton. I told myself it was just my imagination making me uneasy. Later that night, after watching some shows on my laptop, I crawled into bed. The mattress was firm but not uncomfortable, and the sheets smelled freshly washed. As I lay there, staring at the ceiling, I realized something felt off. I couldn't put my finger on it, but it was that deep, gut-level unease that creeps up on you without reason. Then I heard it, a sound so faint, I almost thought I imagined it. A single knock at the front door. My body went rigid. Who would be knocking at this hour? I was in the middle of nowhere, and I hadn't seen a single soul on my drive in. My heart pounded as I debated what to do. Maybe it was the cabin owner checking in. But at this time of night, unlikely. Another knock. This time, softer, almost hesitant. I slowly slid out of bed and tiptoed to the window, careful not to make a sound. Peeking through the blinds, I saw nothing but darkness. The porch light cast a dim glow on the wooden steps, but beyond that, the forest swallowed everything. I held my breath, straining my ears. Silence. After a few minutes, I convinced myself it was the wind, or maybe an animal knocking against the wooden frame. I locked the door just in case and returned to bed, forcing myself to sleep. The next morning, I stepped outside with my coffee, hoping the daylight would wash away the unease from the night before. But as I glanced at the porch, I saw something that made my stomach drop. Footprints. Clear, deep imprints in the dirt, leading up to the front door. But here's the thing, they didn't lead away. I swallowed hard, scanning the trees. There was no one there. Just endless, unmoving trunks stretching into the distance. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe the person had walked backward into the woods. But that didn't make sense. And why hadn't I heard them leave? I shook it off, forcing myself to continue my day as planned. I went hiking, trying to enjoy the fresh air and the peace that I'd come here for. By the time I got back to the cabin in the evening, I almost convinced myself that I had overreacted. Almost. That night, as I sat on the couch reading, I heard something. A soft rustling. Not outside, but inside the cabin. I froze, my eyes scanning the room. The sound came again, a faint, deliberate movement. It was coming from the bedroom. My throat tightened. My breath came out shallow and quick. I stood up slowly, gripping my phone in one hand as I crept toward the hallway. The bedroom door was ajar, the darkness inside impenetrable. I reached for the light switch and flipped it on. Nothing. The room was exactly as I left it. I checked the closet, under the bed, everywhere. There was no one. No sign that anyone had been inside. I let out a shaky breath, feeling foolish for scaring myself so easily. But as I turned to leave, I noticed something that made my skin crawl. The bed. The sheets had been pulled back, just slightly, as if someone had been sitting there. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the living room, every light in the cabin turned on, my back against the wall. My ears strained for any sound, my eyes flicking between every shadow. I debated leaving right then and there, but the idea of stepping outside into the pitch-black woods alone was just as terrifying. The final straw came at around 3 a.m. A whisper, right behind me. I didn't turn around. I didn't even hesitate. I grabbed my keys, yanked open the front door, and sprinted to my car. As I fumbled to unlock it, I dared one last glance over my shoulder. The cabin's front door was still open. The lights inside glowed warmly, spilling onto the porch. But in the darkness just beyond that light, I saw it. A figure, standing just inside the bedroom doorway, motionless, watching. I didn't stick around to get a better look. I jumped into my car, slammed the door shut, and peeled out of there so fast I kicked up a cloud of dust behind me. I drove straight through the night, not stopping until I reached the nearest town. The next day, I messaged the cabin owner, asking if anyone else had access to the place. They responded almost immediately. No one has been in that cabin for weeks. The last guest before you left over a month ago. I never went back. And I never found out who or what was inside that cabin with me.